We made a promise 20 years ago in the Thessaloniki summit that the future of the Western Balkans was within the EU. And we know that the recent years we face an impression of disappointment on both sides. I'm absolutely convinced that there is a window of opportunity because there is much more understanding that it is important and urgent to cooperate, to coordinate with the Western Balkan countries and to make more progress on the EU path. And that's why I made a proposal that on both sides we worked very hard to get ready for enlargement by 2030. Yes, there is a political will for enlargement, and yes, there is a totally different mindset in the European Council. Let me share with you my experience. When I became Prime Minister of Belgium many years ago and member of the European Council, it was very difficult to imagine that at the level of the European Council, at the level of the leaders, we would have serious discussions on those topics, the enlargement, the reforms, the disputes, and the need for the EU to reform itself to be prepared and to be ready for this enlargement process. And before the summer, in the last European Council meeting in June, all the leaders agreed that we would start these discussions among us in Grenada, in Spain, in the weeks to come. We'll have the first discussion on the topic. I try to be realistic. I try not to be naive. I know that there is a certain level of skepticism, a certain level of doubt because of the last 20 years Thessaloniki summit and this impression that it was too slow. And I have respect for that impression and for those opinions. But I would like to convince my friends in the Western Balkans, not only the elite, not only the leaders, but also the people in that region, that there is more and more the conviction on the EU side that the future of the EU will be safer with the Western Balkans within the EU. For our children in the Western Balkans and in the EU, we'll have more stability, more prosperity if we are able to make sure that the Western Balkans are fully part of the EU and fully members of the EU.